And we are back here on the National Hour, here on Buckeye TV. I'm Darius Thigpen.
And I'm Jeffrey Hammersley.
And it's great that you could join us here. So like I said, we're going to get to some more college football right now. One of the big stories this week, Johnny Football, Johnny Manziel, Heisman winner from last year. He's suspended for half a game. And this kind of brings up some questions, Jeff. Obviously here at Ohio State, everyone knows about Tattoo-gate. Everyone knows about the 2-year bowl ban and 6-game suspension for the players, and Jim Tressel's no longer here because of that. Johnny Manziel is suspended half a game, and they're saying the investigation is done.
Yeah.
It's a big difference from those two scenarios.
I need like some candy or something because right now I'm just so bitter about this entire thing because Ohio State got the book thrown at them. That whole year bowl ban, Tressel lost his job, and you know Tressel, that man, he was loved here. I mean, I think a lot of people, and people still love him here in Columbus. But it's one of these things that's like, you couldn't give the guy 2 games. You had to give him a half game. Why not? Just don't suspend him at that point. But it's like but there's this so much smoke there. It's like, well, we gotta do something. So we're gonna threaten to slap your wrist, basically. Half game suspension against Rice. It wasn't against Alabama or anybody important. It's Rice. I mean, nothing.
On the surface, it's both guys allegedly sold memorabilia for money. Terrell Pryor got tattoos out of it. But he also got cash out of it, which he says he used to pay for his mom's gas bill and for her rent.
Yeah.
Johnny Manziel, we haven't heard anything directly from him, but sources have said that his money that he got, allegedly, would have been for reckless spending it on himself.
Yeah.
And by the way, Johnny Manziel, I mean, he's got oil money. If you didn't know, his family, rich, taken care of, they're not paying for rent. They are well and taken care of.
It's polar opposites basically coming from
and remember, and the Manziel thing is just all alleged right now because and put to rest because the investigation's over.
The investigation's over, but looking at Terrell Pryor, like the guy came from Gillette, Pennsylvania or somewhere. Really didn't football. If he didn't make it in football, he wasn't going to make it.
Or basketball,
right? Yeah. And he made it in football. And it's like the point where it's like. He made it, but if his mom can't keep the lights on and stuff, it's like she can't watch a game. She can't watch the games. She can't travel to the games and all that stuff. But it's one of the things where I'm thinking that just like the NCAA, it's like it's just so wacky. It's like that that cream cheese bagel rule where you can give a kid a bagel, but you put cream cheese, it's a meal, and that's a violation. It's just like it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
You have to use logic.
There are some outdated rules. But there's also been some two-face going on with the NCAA. One of the things that were pointed out over the summer, Jay Bilas was all over it on Twitter. If you know about Jay Bilas, you know, first of all, he is one of those guys, renegade, anti-NCAA. He's a college basketball analyst for ESPN, but he does not like the NCAA system. What he found was pretty breaking. He found that the NCAA had on their website a function where you could search by a player's name and find a college jersey. Now, the big news about that is that the NCAA, you're not supposed to be able to sell a player's likeness. So you shouldn't be able to sell a Manziel jersey. You shouldn't be able to sell a Miller jersey, a number 5 Ohio State jersey. But if you typed in Miller, OSU, on the website, number 5 Ohio State would have came up. Manziel, number 2 Texas A&M would have came up. And you can understand how bad that makes the NCAA look.
I mean, if you're throwing the book at guys like you can't sell your likeness, but then you turn around and go, okay, look, our search engines, you can search for this thing.
Right.
The word of the day would be hypocrisy.
That's
what
all
it is.
Over that.
I mean, you're going to sit here and say, well, you, Terrell Pryor, you can't give your likeness away, or Johnny Football, you can't give your likeness away, but we can sell a jersey in our shop. We just link your name to it. We pocket all the cash. You get nothing. You just play football. It's like, come on now.
I mean, it seems like the NCAA, if they want to make it so that college football is completely amateur, that's fine, but you can't make money off of it. And let's be real, with the TV contracts, licensing deals, there's so much money to be made in college football. At this point, it's almost ridiculous to try to call it amateur sports.
Yeah, I mean, right now, when you got deals with ESPN, look at the Texas Longhorn Network. They're making buku dollars. It's like $700-800 million for that deal. Then you're looking at like the championship game. You have Vizio sponsoring the Rose Bowl. They have Vizio, All States and Sugar Bowl. Then you have like just all these sponsors for bowl games in general. It's like there's just so much money involved. It's a business. It's no longer about athletics and academics. It's straight business and money.
Yeah, I mean, athletics, academics, still going to be in there as number one, but It is tough to
It's-
call it
it-
amateur
yeah,
because
it's-
there is so much money involved in. The system is going to have to correct itself
Yeah.
at some point. The NCAA will find out what to do, but it's going to be a challenge for them to
Yeah.
figure out exactly which way to go about it since there is so much money in the game.
It's mind-boggling how much cash is involved. You got TV contracts, title games. It's just to the point where there's got to come a point where it's just got to be a couple big super conferences, and that's all you're going to have. The small guys aren't going to be able to make it.
All right, so we're done with the big story of the week. Now let's go to the final story of the week, starting with Mr. Jeff Hammersley.
Yeah, my story right here goes like this. Back in the day, I mean like way back in the day, there were rivalries like Oklahoma, Nebraska, the Lone Star Showdown with Texas and Texas A&M, and a slew of other rivalries that meant something to a lot of people. Now there really isn't anything from the glory days of college football. We are way past the days of having a Big 12 and a Pac-10. Now we have just an absolute arms race for conferences to get as many teams as humanly possible. It doesn't matter where the teams hail from, it only matters that the team can do this one thing, one simple thing, win. Once upon a time, winning didn't mean as much as it did today. Ohio State passed up on a Rose Bowl bid a while ago because they thought students should be students first and athletes second. Today, if any administrator pulled that kind of stunt and kept the team out of a Rose Bowl or any other bowl game for that matter, their job would be gone in a heartbeat. Money is the driving force behind all this chaos in college football, ending rivalries that people from the 60s grew up with so much and loved, and causing schools to chase dollar signs instead of what is absolutely right for the athletes.
It may not be a sports show, but the elite have competed on it. Hines Ward, Jerry Rice, Emmitt Smith, Jason Taylor, and the receiver formerly known as Chad Johnson have all competed. Well, ABC's Dancing with the Stars may have gotten a new superstar with a far more inspirational story. Valerie Harper, the 74-year-old star of The Mary Tyler Moore Show and Rhonda, is rumored dancer on Dancing with the Stars. Back in March, Harper was told by doctors she only had 3 months to live. Though she was afflicted by terminal brain cancer, she's not letting her diagnosis affect her. Despite the fact that many of you, like I, have never heard of her, an actress from the 70s, before this, we can all admire that she lives out Jim Valvano's famous words, "Don't give up. Don't ever give up." And Jeff, you made it through the first show. I am so proud of you, my man.
We one show down, on to the next one.
It's on to the next one. Thank you for joining us here on the National Hour. Again, Buckeye football coming up this Saturday, OhioStateSports.net. You can listen on Scarlet and Gray Sports Radio. Buckeye TV is going to have all the coverage, wall-to-wall coverage here on Buckeye TV. Jeff, I know you're excited.
I'm pumped. Saturday cannot get here fast enough.
Ohio State football coming up here on Buckeye TV. This is the National Hour. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.